checking in on the cryptocurrency space. So we had a pretty wild weekend where we topped out and hit a climax and pulled back very fast. And the pullback itself, if you showed me this chart, I wouldn't think much about it, but the pullback happened in 10 minutes, and that's where the speed and the lack of liquidity, again, just reiterating that it's a lack of liquidity, it's an immature market, it's a bunch of stop losses triggering, and that causes that flash dump. The good news for the bulls is that flash dump lasted 10 minutes. And if you remember on the way up, when we see bull breaks heading to a key resistance, we will see sell bots, market sell, drop the price really fast for 10 minutes, and then we see no bear follow through after that 10 or 15 minute drop. I'm trying to find an example on the way up where we were trading sideways for a bit. But the point is, I've talked about it in recent videos, the point is lack of follow through. If you see that flash dump and then you bounce and you trade around for a while and then you drop to a lower low, it's a very different scenario than if that flash dump marks the bottom and you see the range tighten from there. That gives the bulls more confidence, and that is how it played out. One more point, now that we have seen a very clear shift in market environment to a very bullish market with where we stand, with the alert system, we want to be focusing, yes, overbought conditions definitely still matter, and we can be watching for potential overbought signals to take some profit, but we're focusing now on short-term oversold signals for buying opportunities. Short-term oversold signals for 4-hour higher lows. In this instance, it was for daily higher lows to try and form. And we can see Bitcoin on Coinbase a little bit wonky because of the lack of liquidity and things shutting down when all that volume came in. But we can see the 15-minute super stack oversold signals going off at these bottoms and giving good entry opportunities. And for ETH, these are the daily super stacks triggering as overextended, but it was the flash dump 15-minute oversold super stack for the entry. So again, as long as we're in a daily uptrend, short-term oversold super stack or oversold climax signals are what we want to be focusing on as we look for the trend on longer-term time frames to continue. So for Bitcoin, where do we stand from here? Daily inside bar, and that's very likely to close as an inside bar today. I like the 12-hour time frame. We started first into yesterday watching the hourly, knowing that an hourly equilibrium is the most likely scenario after a move of that kind of volatility. So we set our top of the bounce, our higher low, lower high was 11,290, pretty much a double bottom. We did break support here on Coinbase, hardly getting any follow through. I consider that a double bottom. Rejected from resistance, another lower high, another higher low, and then a bull break. Not a ton of follow through. You can see a little uptick in the bull volume on the hourly when that resistance break did occur. But what I do from here is now zoom out, and I like the 12-hour for clarity, because what I anticipate is as the most likely scenario as, just like I said on the hourly, an equilibrium. High of the reaction, low of the dump, watching for a 12-hour lower high compared to 12,134, and then we're going to watch for a 12-hour higher low. This could play out for the next 4 days. So what's the first indication that our 12-hour lower high has been set? Perhaps a loss of the hourly uptrend, but anticipating that we trade within this one 12-hour candle for at least a few more days, unless we see a very notable spike in volume in either direction. And I'm talking the kind of volume that we saw on that initial dump. If we see huge volume, obviously that changes the most likely scenario. But in the absence of huge volume, a 12-hour tightening range is what the most likely scenario currently is. So that's what we're going to be watching, and watching for that lower high to be set sometime in the near-term future. Well, near-term meaning perhaps in the next 12 hours, within the next 12 hours. So bigger picture, daily, just looking for a higher low. Daily bouncing off the 12-period exponential support. And if the inside bar does break bullish into tomorrow, our daily higher low will be set at 10,546. And we'll see what that 12-hour time frame does over the next couple of days. Also keep in mind that, that, like I said, it was the speed that showed us that that pullback was odd. But you look at what gold and silver did when they hit their climax top, and it's just a combination of not establishing a ton of support on the way up. And remember when we had this all-time high straight into a huge dump, and granted the percentages are not nearly comparable, and there's the speed aspect where it took 6 hours to happen, but it's a very similar price action taking place. And what was the result of that for gold? Well, a 12-hour tightening time frame where we hit the all-time high, the low of the dump, double top, higher low, and then it continued to hold for the bulls. But I'm noticing very similar price action to Bitcoin and gold on that setup. The difference is the percentage size of the drop, the rate of the drop, but other than that, very similar. BTC.D is great for the altcoin bears. Not confirming this daily trend change on the size of that bounce is a great sign, and dropping back down to support and to a lower low is putting us back at square one for the Bitcoin dominance bulls to try and regain strength. Next time we bounce on this chart, we're just looking for a lower high compared to 64.58. And again, as long as we are not confirming a daily uptrend, these altcoin bulls are in best case scenario, because in that instance, we have Bitcoin bulls holding on just fine, and the altcoin bulls going up faster is essentially what the last 3 days of this chart are showing us. ETH/USD pulled back percentage-wise much more significantly than Bitcoin, but look at the bounce. We are right back up to where we were coming from. Huge recovery. Hourly time frame, at this point, the bounce is something like 20-something%. Huge flush, so we have to be cautious, but a big recovery. 12-hour time frame, more likely to break to a higher high, but anything under 415 is a lower high, and if I'm in a long position that I'm not selling right now, I'm going to hedge that by top fishing the high of this move. I'm going to make a bearish entry on ETH using 415 as my stop, giving some wiggle room, and that protects my longer term position. So if we do form a 12-hour lower high, I make some profit on that short and protect my longer term holding that I am not planning on selling at this point in time. So up towards resistance, and if we reject, we then look for a 12-hour higher low compared to 325.75. Bulls have a lot of space to work with. ETH/BTC, very notable for this daily uptrend to continue. Again, I would have anticipated a lower high and tightening range, but without the Bitcoin dominance chart ever changing the daily trend to favor the bulls, we didn't see that happen. So continuing this move, the weekly breakout continues from its equilibrium, breaking bullish, and we're then looking up at resistance of 3,487, which we broke, although not convincingly, and the next level after that, 3,527, and we did not break that level just yet. So great sign for the ETH bulls, and that's why the ETH bounce has been so significant, because the bounce on this Bitcoin pairing has been so significant. Just a V-shaped recovery to higher highs. BNB USDT, also at the high of its entire move, definitely standing out. And any name that is breaking the high of yesterday after a dump, again, standing out for that kind of V-shaped recovery. So from here, we'll be looking at tons of space for a 4-hour higher low to form. We're currently forming an hourly higher low, trying to hold exponential support. But bottom line is bulls keeping control on Binance, and 2250 is resistance, followed by 2326, 2446. Link USDT is, or the Link USD on Coinbase, healthy weekly consolidation, trying to confirm a weekly bull flag and see new all-time highs. Very significant recovery. We had a daily bear break, and that bear break had no follow-through. We confirmed a daily downtrend with no follow-through, which means zoom out and look for a potential bull flag. Just like when you confirm a daily trend change after a bear move with no follow-through, you look for a bear flag. This was a bear break with no follow-through. And now we're looking at 878 and 890 is the only resistances, with plenty of space to look for higher lows. If we fail initially, the most important 4-hour support for me is 812 to try and keep the bulls in control. And they're keeping this 4-hour 12-period exponential support, even though we flash dumped way below it. We closed back above it. Very significant dip buying. VET USDT. So there's a couple groupings of coins. We know we got our leader Bitcoin as far as, the market cap leader. We've then got our laggard names, which we're about to look at, Litecoin and XRP. Got to put the XRP chart up. So our laggard names that have seen bull moves catching up. And now we need to be focusing on names that have seen healthy consolidation and not participated in this bull move over the last couple weeks. And Link was in that category before the last few days. Go back 3 days ago and Link was in weekly consolidation mode. It was healthy, but again, not participating in this sector-wide bull move. So we have a couple names like VET and XTZ, which are doing the same thing. We are looking for a weekly higher low to form. We are seeing healthy consolidation, and we're looking for a higher low on the daily, a daily trend change to indicate the weekly higher low has been set. So we bottomed at 14.1. We formed a higher low at 14.7, or we're attempting to. And if we can hold 14.1 and break 18.5, we confirm a daily trend change. We confirm our weekly higher low has been set. And what the bulls want to see is just funds go from names that have been running and just see that profit. Again, you want to see a game of musical chairs where just profit is bouncing around to different tickers, not leaving the crypto space, but going from ETH, and then ETH runs and gets overextended. So we go to a name that's been consolidating healthy on the weekly for the last few weeks. That's what you want to be seeing. So you want to be paying attention to the names that have not been participating the last few weeks and could potentially see some profits flow their way soon. XTZ is another one. Weekly consolidation, very healthy. It's a potential weekly bull flag, and now the bulls are just trying to change the daily trend back in their favor. We've got resistance of 314 and 324 and 334. And short-term support, 265 was the low, flash dump down to 270, held support, and now trying to make it back up to break resistance. Healthy weekly consolidation on both these names, not participating with the bulls the last couple of weeks, but no red flags on this weekly chart. LTC, so these are some of our laggards, big time breakout over the last couple weeks, and doing the same thing as Bitcoin right now, as far as looking for a 12-hour lower high compared to 65.31, and looking for a 12-hour tightening range into the middle of this week. XRP, we'll look at it on Bitstamp. Very significant recovery. So similar to ETH in the size of its recovery. So without even looking at the Bitcoin pairing, I know that the ETH BTC Bitcoin pairing has been seeing a significant bull move. So if we fail to break 3265, it's a 12-hour lower high. And again, if I have a long-term position or a swing position that I don't want to exit right now, top fish short to hedge a little bit against that. If it breaks bullish and you stop out of the short, great, you're making money on your long-term position. If we reject and we pull back, great, you hedged and you are making money on that short. So we're looking for a 12-hour higher low compared to 25 if we do reject from this resistance. And let's just look at the XRP BTC chart, assuming that it is back up to the highs, and there it is. So I know that just by looking at the relative strength of XRP compared to Bitcoin. And I know it has bounced a lot stronger than Bitcoin, and it's being reflected on that chart. So the laggard names still keeping some control. Watch the healthy weekly consolidation names that had run previously. Link was one of them. Bulls are already showing back up on Link. Now let's see if names like VET and XTZ can get a little bull love as well. 12-hour tightening range is the most likely scenario, and we'll check back in a day or two if that is indeed how it ends up playing out. Psychologically, why that plays out is you see this big flush down and you see people saying, oh, I should have taken profit. I knew we were overextended. I got greedy. And then we bounce back and people use that as a second chance to exit some of their bullish positions. And that's generally why we usually see a lower high on this kind of bounce. Daily chart, no red flags. Let's see what this 12-hour does. Have a good rest of your day. Do good things. We'll see you soon. We're going to let all the bird seed grow into more bird seed. Got some melons. Big old melons going. And then we got our weird melons. On the inside of that, it has this little red jelly. It's almost like little hearts. Very interesting fruit. The fig trees are sizing up nicely. They were the last thing to show green in the spring, but certainly making up for lost time. It's also good to stagger your varieties. So this raspberry has been putting on fruit for probably 3 weeks at this point pretty consistently, and this one's not been doing anything. This one's on its way out, and these are all flowers that are going to be raspberries in a week or so. So nice to have varieties that stagger your production. Winter squash is sizing up. My favorite's the delicata. Picture these little guys.